Hey, you made it over here through the room door. Well, I just want to say welcome again to the grand opening. Now we are going to embark on a panel discussion. The Infiniverse is all about community. It is about each person giving something to the city to create this economy. VEDX is committed to bringing in education institutions, people, decentralizing learning, and helping the Infiniverse community find ways to open up new dimensions in education. Now, this panel is full of people I admire and I respect because in December, when this launched, it was new to everyone. It was pre-beta. There were some hiccups along the way. There's been lots of Discord chat, lots of people going nuts about speculation all over the city. But the most interesting thing was watching the organic growth of different districts, watching people like Willa and Allison and Fade Bloodlace and LT, all of what you are going to hear from today, and Becca commit themselves to building the Infiniverse on their own time, their districts, the community, the people. The maps, nobody could find their way around. And then we got a map. It's a dynamic city. Developers were swamped. So we got a map by one of the players themselves, citizens. And then the listings for our businesses. I hope you all visit Infinilistings and make sure that the businesses is listed there. It's going to be a great indexing tool very soon. But I just want to say a big thank you to the community members for participating in the panel that you're going to watch next and just participating in this launch. It's exciting. Everybody I talk to is excited to see education come into this space. We've seen some universities come in. Hopefully over the next 3 months, we will see at least one school every week coming into the Infiniverse. If you've been through the VEDX space, you've seen that we have about 24, 28 that were interested and they're coming in. So if you're watching this and you're college, private, or university, be sure that we get you all set up. Come talk to us. So with no further ado, I want to have the panel take over today. After this, talk with people around in the space, discussion, go up, see the apartments, look around the district. The stores themselves are there, but each day, again, you'll have a riddle to answer. If you don't know the answer, you still get entered into the prize. And yeah, let's just have fun. So thank you. And panel, again, the opinions and questions and thoughts that you're providing over this next hour were amazing. We chose a campfire so that we could all sit around. Now, sit back, enjoy, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.
To let you all know, we are recording, and I wanted to say welcome to the VEDX panel on education and business in the Infiniverse. And all of you are community members that have, done some amazing things in the Infiniverse. So please use this panel to speak openly, ask questions. I'll go ahead and just start with who VEDX is. I know we've talked individually to each of you, but VEDX stands for Virtual Education Exploration. And the founders all came together after traveling the world for the last 10 years, recruiting international students to universities in the UK and the USA. And we started our talks in 2018 about why students had to pay so much to go to a physical location at a university when they could just simply engage with the content in the online degree space. Well, that led to, we all know how online degrees are asynchronous and difficult to follow. And so that led us to talk about virtual reality and how that could transform online degrees. Thus, VEDX was born, and we began talking with universities about transforming their online degrees, about recruiting as a platform in virtual reality, which is where the Infiniverse has come into play. And we've started talking with high schools about rolling out virtual reality labs to create future developers, artists, and designers across the world. So we're kind of taking that all-inclusive approach, and the Infiniverse has opened up an amazing space for us as creators and for you as businesses to take part in that. So if we could start and just kind of go around, make sure everybody is introduced. Lance, you wanna start us off, kick us off? You got me? You there? Marcy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you wanna kick us off with the introductions? Yep.
Yes, sure. Hi, I'm Marcy Rosan, and I'm marketing director here at FedEx. And today I will be just kind of in the background. I won't be participating directly, but it's nice to see you all here.
Great, thank you, Marcy. And Lisa,
are we supposed to stand up?
Well, you don't have to stand up. You can stay sitting.
And my Meat World job is I'm a customer engagement specialist at Texas State University in San Marcos, and I teach online. Well, now I teach online, but I teach courses to faculty, staff, and students. I teach technology, and so that's my background. And so I brought that in to the Infiniverse because this was a great special project. So that's. Is that what we're supposed to say?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Lisa.
Yay! Yay! Hi, I'm Alison Morano. The name's the same just about everywhere. In real life, I am a political and legislative consultant, and I do a lot of consulting with educators and with schools at the moment. Nationwide. And I also have a background in tech and web development, and this is a logical next step. And I'm creating quite a few projects inside the Infiniverse, including the Chamber of Commerce. And I'm very happy to be part of this discussion today. And I really admire what FedEx has done for a long time before the Infiniverse even appeared. So thank you for having me here.
Thanks, Alison.
Yes, and my name is Katharina Vitland. I work as a journalist and a children's book author in real life, actually. I initially started in Infiniverse by making a simple map so people could find their way around the virtual space, and it turned out that was a little bit more influential than any of us would have thought. Because it was one of the best way of actually promoting your places and you're promoting your districts and your organizations and whatever. So since then, it developed into a business directory thing. And yeah, we're working with getting businesses to come into the Infiniverse now by using maps and directories. That's what I'm doing.
Great, thank you.
Yay! So essential. My name is Rebecca Bayer. Hello. I'm an art consultant by trade. I've been doing it for about 20 years, but using all kinds of technology. I just, I love it. When I got into VR, it was like a whole new world opened up to me. And so I've been in the Infiniverse, probably the second week that it rolled out. And I have been, a real estate speculator in the Infiniverse ever since.
Speculator. Is that what you're calling yourself?
I am. I am a speculator. And, but I have quite a few properties in the Infiniverse, and I think I have a fairly decent grasp of, the ebb and flow of districts and how things work together. But I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for asking me here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, hello, my name is Robert. It's the first time here with your community, so I do very much things with educators in VR. and I'm using Engage really intensive. And I do many trainings with small, medium, and large companies, especially for their apprenticeship, which is pretty interesting how they are able to integrate virtual reality into their apprenticeship programs for young employees. That's pretty cool. And I do many, many things with Engage, building snapshots to recordings and stuff like this.
Thank you, Robert. And Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have not been into the Infiniverse yet, right?
No, not
Oh
yet.
my.
So Robert,
It's a trap.
Oh,
I'm the
Robert
spy
is
here. I'm the spy here. Sorry for that.
no, that's great. I'm glad you're here, Robert. The Infiniverse is one of the very first standalone headset cities that is creating a social economy of business, people, community, and education, where it's the size of San Francisco digitally. And each of these folks that have come in have taken it upon themselves organically to create something wonderful inside the Infiniverse. For instance, Katharina, like she was saying, her Discord name is Willa, but she was the one everybody turned to in the first 3 months to find places because it was a dynamically created city. And so she was mapping it out.
Yep.
Alison put together the Chamber of Commerce just like out of organic passion. And it's just been such an amazing experience to watch. So you've got to come over there and join us.
Yes, I will for sure.
Excellent. So LT, up to you. Over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm LT. I'm a peer support specialist and the founder of a nonprofit here in Utah called Recovering Addict. Just it is what it is, right? Recovering Addict. And my inspiration and my goal in life is to help people overcome addiction and then get them into a peer support role, a peer support certificate, certified person through education and those means, and then send them off into the world to change, and affect things in life. My nonprofit is twofold, right? I have a physical location where we meet every night and we have a group of people there. And then I have another tier to my nonprofit, which is digital, and it's through YouTube and Facebook and Discord. And it's quite large as far as it goes in the recovery world. And we're in the UK and Australia. And when I jumped into the Infiniverse, that's just kind of what I imagined what virtual reality should be. All of a sudden, look at us right now. We're how far apart, and yet we feel like we're right next to each other. So I wanted to take my recovery community into this realm, or at least be prepared for it when it becomes mainstream, so that I'm not only just a 2D screen away from who become my friends, in recovery, but to where we can immerse and actually learn together. And then anything that has to do with, the immersion of education and getting through people's minds and getting them into better habits and lifestyle, I'm all about.
Excellent. Thank you, LT.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yay. Can we clap?
Yeah.
No.
I think so. Don't break a controller, So
I'm trying to pull my triggers. No hearts. Okay.
Not working.
No thumbs up here.
No thumbs.
But this is what VetX is so excited about doing, is bringing together community through education, and all of you that are in here right now. So I kind of want to ask a few panel questions for you, because so many of you have engaged in the Infiniverse with full force passion. And so what I want to know is where you see the future going in each of your spaces that you're thinking about, both the Infiniverse, but just how education and business can overlap with XR. So Lisa, can I start with you, and then we'll just kind of go around for some of those answers.
Oh, sure. So I started the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Infiniverse because when we, all of us OGs that got in at the beginning, we didn't know what we were doing. I was telling Wyla, it's kind of like a parent gives 3-year-olds some Legos and then just kind of sits back and watches what they do with it. And I kind of feel like that's what we did. And the more we started sharing with each other how we learned how to do something, we kind of started making something out of essentially nothing. And me being a, teacher of technology by heart, I wanted to put together a way to show other people in mass how to do that. And so educating people is kind of the whole purpose. That's all I really have to offer in here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're well filled a need of a map. I've tried to fill the need of educating users on how to expand their viewpoint and learn how to do things and build bigger and better things and think outside the box. Take what we learned, add something to it.
You were one of the first people that I went to when we started creating stuff, when I created my property hub, because I was so inspired by what you did. And it was kind of a thinking outside of the box, sort of a direction that you went in. And it was very helpful. And that's where everybody has been drawn to what you do, is because it's concise, it's very well thought out, and it makes sense even to a new person. I think that Robert probably his first day in should really just go visit you and just take some of the tutorials. But it's thinking in that direction. I think that's helped be successful.
I agree. Are you raising your hand, or are you like hallelujah?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Perhaps one addition to yours. That is so important, because what I sense at the moment in the virtual reality trainings is that people pretty often think it's just the usage of a different device, and they want to shift a PowerPoint that they had in life then to the virtual reality. And that's so crazy. And I really push them to say, well, okay, think about what you can do more, and you can do so much more. So a standard classroom is not what we intended here in this world. We do things so different, and it's so cool that you said this, because it's so much, I believe, hard work to really show people what is different and what they are able to do, and it's awesome.
Right, you've got to get out of the paradigm of the 2D world, as far as teaching is concerned. And there's concepts here. Like I said, I think all of us, every one of us, contributed something that wasn't even a concept before VR and before the Infiniverse. And I hope, as the program where I see my place going, I hope as the Infiniverse grows and more people come in, it becomes more common knowledge. It becomes a second, you don't even have to think about it, second nature, to be like, this is the VR world, anything is possible. I don't need a tutorial now. I get it. I hope I write myself out of a job, honestly. Yeah. Because that means then the Infiniverse is ready to go. Well, I mean, but I mean, I kind of hope that's where it goes. Honestly, I hope it becomes second nature, that this is just a whole new world and people just start thinking differently, because then think of what, oh my gosh. I mean, think of what could happen then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
I think that was the answer to the question.
Yeah, that was great. I love that back and forth. And then Alison, I'd love to hear your thoughts around business and education and how these things tie together to create a real social economy.
It's interesting, because when Lisa was talking about, and you're talking about educating, first I want to say, I went so far into wanting to educate everybody about the Infiniverse to be able to answer questions and use it, that I I sent a proposal to Sam Shepard, who created the Infiniverse and the multiverse, about a way to offer a way for volunteers to come together to help people who come in for the first time, or even the second or third time. And that's between me and another woman, Liz, that's where the info people were born. And if you come in, it's going to be very easy. Yeah, it's going to be very easy to find somebody like Fade in there, because we literally have tags over us. There's only a handful of us right now, but there's more and more that say info. So we spend all day of our time in there, pretty much, when we're not working on our own projects, educating people.
And we show up on everyone's people tab too, so they can always find us.
You can always find one of us. And we are volunteers, but it's our it's our excitement about wanting to teach everybody how to use this, because what I learned back, I'm an OG all the way back to 95, is if we don't educate everybody about the web back then, my fear was that people wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this and going to libraries and schools for years to go in and talk to people about it, because that was my livelihood. When you talk about commerce and education and social, I wanted to be able to create websites that sold things and create business and commerce online. And I had to teach about it constantly. And when I talk about VR now, say on my Facebook or Twitter or something, I've heard from so many people who said, I don't know about this, but now I'm recalling conversations when I told you the internet was going to be a fad, and now you're saying this. It happened again yesterday. They're having flashbacks of me constantly talking about it and educating and where we are now. I had one or two business partners in commerce at the time who broke the partnership with me because they said the internet wasn't going to last and I was going down the wrong path. And, I know this is right. And I know from everybody in this room sitting here that this is the right way to go.
Yeah.
As far as social, I think the social piece is really important because that's also how the web started. We were all very social with each other and wanted to. It's the equivalence of wanting to share pictures of our cats back then when you could make simple websites. And I was putting up products, and I was going into rooms full of business women who wanted to create, and it had to take that next step. And I think that when you created the Hitchhiker's Guide, and I started with just 30 floors, I think of them as floors, the different metaverse templates, 30 floors of other users or things that I found when they did all the drops and the statues. That's how I started creating until they started opening up. Now they have storefronts, and now we're bringing in the real commerce and the ideas for the commerce. And that just naturally gravitated toward a chamber of commerce so that we could help everybody figure out how to navigate this new world. So we're ready for the influx of, hopefully, I'm counting on lots and lots of thousands and thousands of people when they finally open the doors. I think that we're all going to be ready for that, and be able to teach everybody else how to do it. Yeah. So that's where I see it going, or what I'm doing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody other comments on this question? LT or Becca or Katharina?
What was the basic part of your question again? Go ahead.
The basic part is just kind of your future, your vision that you see where education and business in the Infiniverse is going, what it's going to look like, how we bring it together. This is a great start, this panel, but how we continue to work on that. But what is that vision? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think just actually having places, like the education district, which I went to this morning just early on to see what all is over there right now, but bringing more educators to that space and having some more storefronts, with different educational opportunities would be a tremendous thing. So I think it's really going to be a matter of educating, the different institutions about what's available and the different outlets that they have to teach people. I mean, it's really incredible. Just like, my husband he's an elementary school teacher, 5th grade. Okay. And the ability to have an atmosphere that gets their attention and keeps them engaged, because you're competing with things like Fortnite on a daily basis. And it's going like this all the time. Okay. So when you're in a classroom setting as a teacher, you're trying to teach these kids their brains are going like this. Okay. And when you have the VR, it's blocking out all of the distractions, and you're able to, learn something, I think, in a quicker way, in a way that children's minds, and I'm speaking just about the kids, I'm not even talking about, higher education, college and things like that, but, just bringing that ability to the educators. My husband's a technophobe. He won't even put these things on. I'm working on it, but it's gonna take a little bit. But once he sees that ability to focus a kid's attention and teach them something hands-on, I think he'll be all about it. But
Yeah.
it's just a matter of getting teachers on board to do it as well.
Yeah.
So
Business and education, and when you are in the business of education, you're splitting your mind and how can you be empathetic towards the person you're educating, but how can you run a business to keep the ship from sinking?
Yeah.
And so when I came to the multiverse, I was thinking, how can I reach as many people as possible to point at the multiverse, stick with my mission and my brand of recovering addict, and help people in need, and create a platform for them to come. So you're trying to garner attention and in a nonprofit way, raise money, and then educate people at the same time. And all three of those were very possible quickly from what I experienced with the multiverse and the Infiniverse and meeting you. And so now I'm stepping back and seeing how we can really mold that into an actual place for people to come and get educated and to be able to promote and market. And the cool thing about the multiverse and the Infiniverse, Robert, is like I can send you my website and you'll flip through it, right? But now I can hang out with you in my website, and then we can go to another room where you can see my live streams on different platforms.
Exactly.
And it's actually being able to cross-pollinate through all the platforms. Yeah. And I think virtual reality and AR and stuff's going to eventually take over. But yeah, that's, marketing and business while educating is a fun challenge.
Yeah.
But it's it's a lot of balls to juggle too, it really is, because you've got where, once upon a time you have one sort of career focus, and now you've got what, 6 going all at the same time, and you have to be adapt, at all of them. So it's really interesting the way the world is evolving.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I could add one more thing on that.
Yeah, Lisa, yeah.
From the university standpoint, it's kind of funny how prime this is, because before the pandemic, we were all classroom teaching. And, thank you, COVID, it brought virtual teaching screaming to the forefront. And everyone had to shift their paradigm of how to teach. And so we are already geared now. In fact, our department, they showed our numbers went through the roof. Our metrics were quadrupled in success on virtual teaching versus in the classroom. People responded to it in such a much more positive fashion, and the retention and comprehension were just amazing, to the effect that now my team is fully remote. We don't have to go back to campus anymore because we're more successful in this modality. We now have the university has actually, and this sounds kind of funny, they've gotten rid of most of the books in the library and developed a makerspace. Marcy, that video that I showed you, and the makerspace has a VR immersion lab where we are actually teaching Unity. We teach the VR classes, and there's a lot of faculty members who want to teach in a virtual environment, specifically when the sciences during the pandemic. How the heck do you teach anatomy and physiology over Zoom? I mean, you just, and that's when I got so excited when I saw the campus and y'all's video on how somebody, you modeled like the heart and you blew it up giant and everybody could walk inside the heart. I was like, holy macaroni. This is where we need to go.
That's impressive.
Because now you're doing even more than you can do in the classroom. Again, it's a concept that wasn't even thought about until this came about.
Well,
and that excites me.
It's pulling that two-dimensional, words and images off of a page into reality. You can walk around it and enter it and really understand what it is that you're learning about.
And so now our university is doing 360 immersive promotional videos, and I am trying so desperately to get our university a presence inside the Infiniverse so that we can start recruitment efforts that way, and maybe even start a whole new degree plan on virtual reality development. That's exciting as heck to me.
Yeah,
Well,
Robert.
I really think that
Oh,
that's
sorry.
exactly where it's going to go. That's going
I
to
do
be,
too.
it'll be a thing, and it won't be that that far off in the future that'll happen.
Not now.
And the reason that I can see that would be amazing would be just number one, the costs of a physical building and faculty and all of the things that are involved with
Textbooks and-
teaching.
Yeah.
And that price education completely out of a lot of people's realm of it's not even possible. But in a world like this, where you can throw together a learning environment for just in a matter of a couple of hours and have a space that you can teach in, is incredible.
So
Robert, you're gonna have to jump in. You've got two Texans talking, and we won't stop.
Robert, you got a question there,
Sorry.
and then Alison, I want to jump over to you too, because you got a comment also.
Perhaps
go ahead,
two
Robert.
things. First of all, what I do in the pretty early beginning is always saying draw a cube. And here in Engage you have 3D pen, and they start drawing a cube, and they draw it flat with perspective. And then I said, you can do it differently here. You can draw it in real 3D and draw a 3D cube. That is a so amazing first wow effect for all these new participants. That's really cool. And the second topic, as you mentioned, the paradigm shift. What I sense at the moment is that pretty often the leaders or people that are in charge in a company really think that virtual reality is this what it was 10 or 15 years ago. So a big headset linked to a big computer with a huge graphic card. And if they want to do something, they had to invest whatever, six-digit figure numbers. And that's what we need to come over in a first discussion. That's what I sense is in front of these paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Alison, you had a comment?
I think I'm going back to Lisa's first comments, but plus the paradigm. So I do have, like I said, I work with several education companies that are innovative, and I'm talking to them about coming in here. And I'm at the point where I tell them, I had one company that's redoing their website, and I spent hours trying to talk them out of it, because the paradigm shift is that when was the last time you went to a website, even in 2D versus social? Websites are no longer, but that's the paradigm, and you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
It's when you talk to people about cryptocurrency and they can't imagine ever using digital currency. And I say, when was the last time you had money in your wallet? You're already doing it,
Yeah.
Dirty, filthy money.
And again, we're going to turn around in 10 years. That's kind of what I say. But you don't do it. You are digital, and you don't realize that you're already digital. And nobody realizes till you point out they barely use their website anymore as a landing spot for people to use informationally. They go to Facebook or they go to another social medium, and the website is to take transactions or do something like that. I said Facebook, and she started listening.
Websites are more like a validation now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that we should come here, and that's where I try to bring people. But that's the paradigm shift, and it's going to happen in a way that you don't know. But the really big paradigm shift has to be when we split the thought of virtual reality away from it only being a gaming platform, and you see that a lot.
Yes.
So important.
And it's both, and the Infiniverse is proving that it's both. So commerce can be fun, right? I guess you could say that.
Commerce can be.
I started taping. I have all these pictures I keep taking of TV shows where they're just putting on the headsets. To me, that's a first step. There's just a lot of shows now. They just take the Oculus out and put it on, and nobody notices. And eventually, they're not. We're going to do it. I carry my Oculus everywhere. I've worked from home for years, and it's I was telling somebody the other day, it's part of when I take my laptop and my phone and my Oculus wherever I'm going. It's just, to me, it's not something that sits somewhere till I'm ready to use it. It is always part of my workday. And that's that again. It's all the paradigm.
I think what you just said there is what we're counting on in education when we talk to universities. We spoke with a university the other day, and Lisa, I said this too when we were talking to your admin. and that was, look, don't think of it as a university investment that you have to buy all this equipment. Actually, switch it around and think about it as a textbook. Like your students all buy $300
Yep.
chemistry textbooks. This is a $300
Yeah.
investment. It
right.
will be a tool
Right.
That's awesome.
to learn everything. So it just sits in your bookstore and goes with whichever classes. And if you've already got one, you don't need to buy it again. You're already in.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So that's
Right.
the interesting part for universities, and that's really where we focused their attention with the online degrees. Is look, this is just a lab fee, and then all your departments get to use it, and the licenses start just,
Right.
it's part of your student fee. But my gosh, can you imagine sitting in a graduate course like this rather than in a overly stuffy
Yeah.
room? That this is so
Absolutely.
much better, so
Yeah.
much better. So
In
and
my yoga pants with my crackers and beer. I mean, Coke.
Heck yeah.
Exactly.
Whiskey, whatever.
It's all good because it is a game.
Katharina, I want to bring this around to a couple of questions that we discussed in the last few weeks, and that is your listings page and the mapping and everything that you've done and the future that you see going forward. How does a new business coming in? What would be the best? I guess, process. Like somebody comes in for the first time, let's say Robert. Robert's going to jump into the multiverse very soon, and he's going to say, whoa,
Yes.
what do I
me.
do? What do I do? So how do we then make that process for Robert so much easier? Like jump in and then you meet the community. That's one. You see the listings page of the businesses like a Chrome listing of the businesses that you've started. That's two. And then a map that you can call up and go around and then get pointers of who in the community to meet with or what store to go to. So tell me a little bit from your perspective how you see it.
Well, I've been listening to the people talking about teaching in VR and education in VR, whilst my approach has been more educating about the VR. Because as we have all noticed, we're learning as we go here. And this whole map and listings things, I mean, I've been learning that this is necessary as I go. When we bring people in, we just directly transfer the knowledge we got literally a week ago to the people coming in because we're learning as we go, right?
Yeah.
This is moving really, really fast. And to me, who feels strongly that what used to be maps for the community is more and more going to be maps for bringing in businesses, for teaching them how to do this, right? And also the listings. So what we need to do to get businesses in here is to actually educate them not only to how this works and what we do, but what this is. Because, I mean, most people don't get it. And I think that process doesn't start when they enter the Infiniverse. That process starts before. They need to understand before they come in. We need to know where to find them. And I'm also of the opinion that you have to combine the old internet with this new Infiniverse internet somehow so that people can at least recognize
Relate to it.
something when they come in, relate to it. So I've been thinking also the importance of we talked about how web pages are becoming obsolete, but the importance of having web pages and places within the Infiniverse that are recognizable. So that when people see the web page, they come in and they recognize where they are so that they learn that this is not as different as you might think.
Yeah.
So bringing them all the way from the internet, from the web, into Infiniverse and making that transition smooth and not actually feel like, okay, I put on the Oculus, I have no idea where I am and someone has to walk me around this. But already when you get in there, you have some kind of concept of where you're going and you recognize yourself when you get in there. It's the same thing. It's just 3D, you know?
Yeah.
So education about the Infiniverse on top of education in the Infiniverse, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
just
it's
VR
two sides of
education all the way
same coin.
around, I think.
Yeah,
I think
VR
it's
education, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, imagine where this
That's
goes.
a lot of what Recovering Addict does.
Yeah. Inside
Yeah.
with all the streams, and I mean that was one of the reasons I when I first saw what was going on over there, I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. You know, the VR cast. I don't know if there's a name for it yet. Is it VR podcast? VR stream? I don't know. It'll come up soon.
You're streaming.
You're not a podcast. You're a VR cast. I don't know. We're still thinking of the name on that one. But will it? You know, one of the things that we see too, as this thing grows and as more people come in, and Robert, just for your information, there's been over 80,000 residents and 250,000 people in a matter of 4 months in this city.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's unbelievable, the growth rate. And
This December. Yeah.
as people continue to come into the Infiniverse and find a social economy and a real economy, listing out the schools and the businesses is such an important piece of it. And I just see, any ideas on how that can be a part of the entire experience right away for anybody? I mean, Alison, I saw that you have Willa's stuff on the Chamber of Commerce page, but how to every user could it be like a search engine, like Google Chrome?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of learning as we go, one of the things that happened last week was one of the developers, Chris, he started giving us the API files, which meant that we could get all the information about all the stores that came in. It's not descriptive, but that's what Will is doing, is she's asking for the descriptions. Another big piece of what was released was the Infiniverse username affiliated with the storefront. So this was of the storefronts.
Perfect.
I will say some of them you could tell what they were by the title of the store. Others
some of them you
are,
can't. Some of it's really hard to tell what they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you go to Willa's business listing, she asked for a category.
Exactly.
Then there's malls inside. Did you? Sorry. When you go inside, there's malls that, like Lisa's running a mall, and I know that Becca had a mall for, for the apartments and all of this, but they're becoming more categorical. But that's when you're inside. So you can start outside, and maybe I don't know right now, you go in and think I'm going to go look for shoes in the Infiniverse, but that's where we're going to go. And that's where we're going to be. And I think one of the most intriguing things I've seen are these fast food companies, McDonald's and Wendy's, starting to open up. They're not quite selling in there, but when I explain to people, you'll be able to walk around the streets and go to McDonald's and order, and they automatically think they're going to give you a VR burger and it's going to be digital. What do you do with that?
Here's your cartoon fries.
You're going to order and DoorDash is going to come to your door with the food.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what this is going to be. And then you'll be able to go shopping, or you'll go to the movies, or so but I think categorically being able to look at the businesses is going to help a lot for when you want to go in.
Yeah, here's what I've been thinking. I mean, imagine you go like on a night in the Joe Club with the stand-up comedians. Like sit there and they have a break in the middle, and you go to McDonald's just next door, order your food, you go back into the Joe Club, and you're sitting there when they deliver the food for you. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? That'd be great.
That would be awesome.
The minute I saw the wine bottles,
that would be so awesome.
Of course I'm going to order wine to come to my house in real life. That's not a fake wine place.
No.
That's what this is from day one. Remember, from day one, I started looking at these. They have icon placeholders that have no real purpose other than to show you can build 3D monuments.
They're just markers.
I saw it all as real. It's like there's fries and there's the cheese and there's the wine, and we thought those were already placeholders. So we were buying places that overlooked the wine, thinking we could run across the street and order wine whenever we wanted. There's a couple of us that actually bought strategically that way. I don't think it's going to work out.
But I think you're making a great point there, because at this point we're mainly just social, but I think we're all kind of sitting around waiting for businesses to start. I mean, we're starting businesses, but also people coming in from the outside that isn't actually us from the beginning. So this can start getting commercial too, because that's kind of what happened to the internet. We're all kind of longing for business to start rolling. So we can
that was from the day one. That was the very first thing that I was waiting for was the storefronts to open up. Because I can't make a strategy until I know what that storefront looks like and how it works at all. So, so there was a lot of us just kind of running around waiting for that to happen.
I think that stepped up the storefronts was the user input and the developers listening to the users has been incredible. That's been the number one thing about this platform that I think from the beginning. I think we stepped up the storefronts probably by 2 months of their plan because we
Yeah.
wanted to do it with them so badly.
We wanted to do it.
And now we are.
Well, yeah, but I think it was essential for them to do that and for them to get
Right.
our feedback. Part of that development team that's bringing the ideas in. So like when, you know, we've got the education district coming in and their storefronts, but they're just facilities, you know. I think it's going to be essential for San and Chris, for all the developers to get feedback, and the sooner they do it, the better off we'll all be.
Yeah. Well, I think that
Education areas a lot. Yeah.
I think that's a good segue here as we run to the end of our panel, and that is if we can go around one by one, and just if you could ask for something next in the Infiniverse, and what would be the next drive this sort of business, social, educational space forward? What would that be? So that's kind of the question there, and Lisa, you get to go first.
I promise I'll be quick because there's really one thing that I want. And right now it's pirate ship. 100% pirate ship.
Pirate ship.
Come
We're
on.
all in on pirate ship. Pirate ship.
Cthulhu. Okay, no. Beyond that. I look at it from a university perspective, and I know right now there's a shard limitation where there can only be 16 people in a shard, and I get that. I would love for the lecture halls to be able to do an additional something workaround with that so that people can actually get in there and give seminars and be able to project on these beautiful screens in there and like hold classes with more than 16 people at a time. I don't know how to accomplish that, but I really, really want that really bad.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Alison?
Well, my first real choice, but that's coming, is real-time commerce with the actual products being, you know, in real time. But that's coming. The other thing that I think could be accomplished is, we were talking about it this morning, is the ability to take notes or the ability to record, you know, to have a way of not having to remember all of it because there's no real-time note-taking or writing down ideas or sharing things. And that goes with the lecture, right? So you're in the lecture hall with all the people. Imagine if you could type and it comes up on the screen. And I know that it's possible because I've seen it in some places, but we don't have it available to everybody yet. And I think that's something that could be accomplished. So I'm being realistic.
Notes are on the list.
No, perfect.
Notes are on the list, Alison. It's just a very long list with things they need to do, but they're on the list.
4,000.
The list. Yeah.
The list with big T and L. Yeah, well, I think I'm going to bridge Alison and Rebecca here by saying, since my main focus is actually bringing businesses in, then I would like it to be easy for them to get in. I would like it to be easier for them to get storefronts, to get the subscriptions. We kind of need to get that whole system a little bit tighter because it's not perfect right now. I'm working on that. I mean, it's a pretty wide request, but I think it's also necessary because we're going to get stagnant if we don't start getting businesses in and small businesses.
Right.
So,
That's right.
Yeah, so that's kind of my main focus right now is trying to get the business side of this rolling. And also, and this where I'm probably going to leave over to Becca here, we need to be able to start customizing our properties. Because we're not going to get a real business going player to player wise because right now all the properties look the same. And to get businesses running in there and to get the inverse economy up and rolling, there needs to be a reason for people to buy and sell stuff in there. So take it away, Becca.
Well, and that's exactly what my point is that until we reach a point where we can customize our unique properties, they're not unique. One thing looks just like the other. And so, I have over 2,000 properties, and I really intend to sell them, put them on the open market and sell them. Not all of them, but, but if I can't distinguish one from another, or why is my property better than her property, or do something unique to customize it, then I'm sitting here with 2,000 properties that I can't do anything with.
Which is why we wanted.
That's where
we also wanted Todd to join, because he can do some really cool things graphically with stuff. So yeah.
Well, where's Todd?
Todd's probably
He's
watching
stitching
right
something
now
together.
as this goes over.
He's
so.
stitching something together.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so that's the only thing I could really say that I really want to see is that customization and the ability to take these properties and do something other than sit on them.
Right. And I think,
like
I think
live on a
that-
pirate
that's
ship.
Definitely, yeah. Cabin. I want a cabin in a pirate ship. LT, how about you?
If we're talking strictly multiverse and Infiniverse, I know it's the interconnected metaverses, right? Their design is to lead out to other apps and stuff like that. But the reason
Like
we're
this one.
engaged is probably because we don't want to be interrupted, right? I would love the ability. I'm on Lisa's page with the classroom environment, but I would like to be able to lock the door and sign up 30 people, and only those 30 people can pop in.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
So important.
if they could do that, then I wouldn't be building these other worlds that I'm doing to have other types of meetings and, seminars and classes.
Right.
By nature, humans are going to only click twice before they don't want to click anymore.
Right.
Right on a website.
Right.
And if we can get them into VR and into a classroom learning within, a couple of screens, then that would be better in my opinion. I'm sure that's all coming, but I would like to see that immediately.
No,
Because then
absolutely.
I would never go to Horizon and build a classroom. I would never go into AltSpace and build a studio.
No.
Everything would just happen for me inside Multiverse, because that is my favorite interface for for usability right now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
no.
Zoom. You can control your audience, and it needs to be a model like that. I think Zoom has set a good precedence for that.
We lost
oh
the
no,
cameraman.
we lost.
We lost the cameraman, the most important person.
We lost Lance.
That is why we do. That's why we do redundancy.
You have a backup, redundant.
Right, there you go.
Lance, we knew
right.
him well.
Okay. Well,
He's with Todd.
I
would
agree.
like to tie this all, if I can.
Oh, sure.
If I can,
sure.
I would like to tie this back to what we said, or what I said about education about VR, because I'm pretty sure half of the, like 50% of everything we said here that we wanted to see in the Infiniverse, people wouldn't
It's on
understand.
the list.
No one outside this place would have any idea what we were talking about, and
Yeah.
we wouldn't like 3 months ago. So this discussion is completely pointless if we can't really reach out with the knowledge, and that's a part of education in VR. It's actually educating people in VR so that they get this.
Yep.
Yeah. So that part is important.
I have to leave, so thank you very much for that. I
Nice
was a
meeting
part here,
you.
and
Yeah,
hopefully
come and
we
visit
see
us.
each other again and
Come see us.
and link
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Come see
Come
us.
see us
Please.
in the
Yes.
Infiniverse.
Download
We'll
more.
educate you
Robert,
in the Infiniverse.
download Multiverse. Come over to the Infiniverse, which is the city, and there are portal doors that come back to Engage. So I'm trying to work also with Engage to try to get into a classroom directly from a portal door in the Infiniverse, so that you could load up what you were
pretty
talking
cool.
That
about.
would be awesome.
Isn't that
amazing.
nice?
Yeah.
You could have come right to this
Wouldn't
campfire.
that be cool?
Yeah.
That's
Thank
connecting
you.
the dots, right?
Bye.
Bye, Robert.
See ya.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Nice meeting you.
Nice
Robert.
meeting you.
Oh my
Bye,
gosh, I'm
Robert.
going to do that as soon as I get off of here. Holy crap.
Right? I bet you will.
Sorry.
Yeah, just add a link. Add a
Connect
link.
to Engage.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
So,
Stoked, Lisa.
perfect.
but that would be my
Awesome.
development piece. Is like there's a couple
Lisa,
of
you're so
places.
awesome.
There's a couple of places all over the metaverse that I would want to link to Infiniverse. So, for instance, if I could link a classroom like this campfire discussion directly to a room, then I could go in there and be like, oh, I'm going to go to that asynchronous space right there and attend it, and then come back into my other space. And so I
Yeah,
overall.
just making it easier to go from one metaverse to another metaverse. The different bridging the distance between the apps, I think is going to be huge once they can do it.
Yep.
So